identify easily with their own classmates when they demonstrate. Learners might not demonstrate perfectly, but the teacher as coach should point out the points for progression. The teacher explains and demonstrates what needs to happen at various stations for the same activity. In this case, cricket is chosen. Various batting and fielding techniques are explained. The learners are now instructed to take on up positions at various stations, and each group will then practice a particular technique. Instructed to take on up positions at various stations, and each group will then practice a particular technique. Note that learners apply the techniques immediately. The technique is not perfect, but as you can see, the learners have a very good idea what to do. They need to practice these techniques as far as possible. Notice the rotation options. The group rotates to the next activity. They wait for the instructions and start with the activity. This is called intergroup rotation. Look at the rotation inside the group. Each member of the group gets a chance to bat, then to field, then to bowl. This is called intra-group rotation. Here the teacher explains to a group of learners a multitask class activity. Now it is important not to give large chunks of information to learners at one time.
Hier het ons 'n kardiovaskulêre aktiwiteit waar jy 5 keer gaan hardloop vir die 20 meter. Die tweede een daar.
They tend to forget easily, which will mean that the teacher will have to re-explain. This is a class activity and all learners do the same activity. The teacher has more control over the class. See how they follow through to the next activity. In activity like this, teachers should be mindful of the ability of learners and their fitness levels. Rather start with slow and less hectic activities and build to the more strenuous ones. Teachers must be careful not to allow exercises or the teaching of the techniques at the expense of quality. Rather find an appropriate way to practice the handstand with a partner, for instance. This is a duplication of the previous activities. The teacher has given learners a practice run. It is now expected of the learners to apply the techniques much more correctly. See, it is not really what is expected, but as the clock runs, these have to maintain a high tempo of the activity. They will improve as time goes on. This is the beginning of an obstacle course. Look, a good demonstration run is necessary to allow learners to comprehend what is expected of them. The practice run is completed, so every learner knows now what is expected of them. Great care should be taken to ensure that the apparatus is safe. The balancing activity should have been placed first and instruct learners not to run but to walk on their toes slowly without falling off. But of course, this is a time trial and learners will run, but the risk of injury is very high. Here the teacher demonstrates how signals could be given. The most powerful piece of equipment is the whistle, but the use of the whistle is important. In most cases, be clear and use the whistle only to stop an activity, as shown. in this demonstration.
Links draai, rechts draai, links draai. Maar as jy fluitjie blaas, dan stop julle. Het julle hom? Goed. En begin, rechtsom. Linksom. Goed. Laat sak jy hande.
The second important communication strategy is the use of hand signals. In this case, the teacher wants the learners to show his thumb in the air as a signal that the learner can continue with the activity but have to reduce the noise level. The teacher spreads out his arms horizontally and learners know that they must fall into smaller groups. Normally this is meant so that teachers can explain big problems that learners experience. She wants the attention of the learners. This is normally followed by a demonstration. With this signal, learners are expected to stand on the spot right where they are. Again, the teacher can explain instructions and techniques without disrupting the activities too much. This sign signals to learners to fall into their home groups. You will see that learners run to their home stations. You can give this signal to the whole class or you can give it to an individual group. Various hand signals are explained. Take time to teach these signals as they will assist teachers not only in giving instructions but also to spare the use of the voice. In PE you get various lessons. The teacher is about to explain an athletic lesson. Note that they begin by doing a simple warming up routine. The teacher teaches the start in athletics. Notice who the teachers demonstrate, followed by the learners who try on their own. The teacher will continue to do corrective teaching and coaching of the technique. Notice that the learners struggle to get the crouched start position as they are not used to it, but the teacher used simple techniques of instruction to teach the skill. The best way to teach is for learners to see a good example of demonstration. One can also use a learner to assist with demonstrations. You can already see that learners begin to comprehend the position. Here the teacher teaches novice learners for the first time the relay running. Note the steps that the teacher uses. Also note how clumsy the learners are. The teacher has to repeat the activity and technique over and over. Learners need enough practice to improve these techniques. Therefore, each PE class is an on-task teaching moment. Learners will enjoy the activities, especially when they see this as a challenge.
As meneer sê gereed, weg, dan stap jy lekker met jou aflos by stapie. Jy stap lekker. Nee, as jy hier kom, dan lig jy op en jy sit dit in die persoon se hand se palm. Dan het mooi geop by die ontvang van hom. Hou vas, vat hom vas. Dan draai die persoon die aflosbuis om net soos daai. Dan loop die persoon vorentoe. Lig hom lekker hoog.
See the patience of the teacher when he teaches the learners the correct techniques. The teacher has to make sure that learners comprehend by starting the relay action very slowly and systematically increase the tempo. The teacher has to make sure that all the learners understand the technique. Some will comprehend quicker than others. Here the teacher demonstrates the importance of rhythm using a skipping rope. The teacher demonstrates hand-eye coordination using a tennis ball.